Well, hello, you marketers who are barely managing. I'm your host here, Rachel Moore, also known as Rachel Has the Mic. Right now, I've got the mic and I want to wax on about something that truly annoys me all the time. You know, when you have perhaps informed or educated, provided information to someone repeatedly, and it's documented. Like this isn't like you just said it on a call. You sent it to them. You tapped out a message or recorded a voice note, or even maybe you went so far as to do a screen share recorded that enlightens them and shows them how to do something that they have asked you how to do. You've provided that already, but they're back and they're asking you the same question. How does this work again? How do you do this again? I can recount when I worked with someone who asked me not less than 11 times how our email system worked at a startup that we both worked at. I sat with this person multiple times and we were lateral to each other basically. And every single time I would ask, do you want to take notes? Should I record the screen? No, it's fine. I got it. She did not, in fact, have it. And it was such a waste of time. That is time suck. And I don't understand. This is where I just want to rail against any people manager who in any way has any sense of bottom line and how resources are spent and used, and the immense amount of time that is wasted when you have a knowledgeable person on your team wasting time educating another person on the team who just refuses to retain that information. And they'll be back to ask for you to waste more time with them in the future on how to show them how to do whatever they keep asking to do. This is, and I'm shocked this is not a more widespread phrase, weaponized incompetence, because while there are certainly people out there who maybe they just don't have the mental wherewithal to grasp the thing that you've shown them 11 times, um, I oftentimes think it's because, well, they don't really want to do it. So maybe if they keep saying they don't know how to do it, in spite of being told and instructed and advised and shown repeatedly in multiple ways how to do the thing, they just don't want to do it. So they just keep saying, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't remember. And then, oh, isn't it easier for you who knows how to do it for me instead of me? Ugh. I've had employees that have done this to me only for a certain time because, sis, I ain't putting up with that. If I've come on a team where I'm discovering that maybe a person makes more than the other two people on the team, and yet they're the most useless person on the team. And maybe even their title would indicate that they should be able to, quote unquote, manage more things than the other two people on the team. And yet they just keep insisting, oh, I forgot how to do that. Oh, are we supposed to do it that way? Is that how this works? These are systems that person's even supposed to know already. But then if any of us are coming in and showing that person, well, here's how it works once again. And I know the argument could be made, well, it's up to you then to communicate that to them. And everybody's got different communication styles, yes. But when you've tried everything and they're still refusing to retain it, that's a deeper issue, and that's a them problem. So that's my vent today. I'm sure you're all thinking of someone or someone's who you've either had to work with in the past or you're working with them now, that you have to endure this all the time. And maybe there's no recourse for you. And I am sorry for that, because we've all also worked with managers who just, man, they just don't want to. That would mean I'd have to talk to them, and maybe not in like a, oh, fun, what'd you do for the weekend, kind of thing, but more of like a, hey, you should be knowing how to do this. Why are you wasting your colleagues' time? Because you can't seem to do that. And then you got to produce the receipts. And then you might have to move into PIP territory. And then you might actually have to put them on probation. And then you might have to actually fire them. Oh, and I don't know, replace them with someone who's not useless and doesn't suck all the money out of the business. I don't know. Sounds really tough. I wonder why they call it a manager if you can't actually manage that kind of crap. You can tell I have little patience for this. And I learned a long time ago. I got in an argument. It was an argument with a director of sales at a startup I worked at. And I went in and was trying to say, hey, and I at no point raised my voice. I want to point that out. I was basically trying to address something with her saying, hey, we need this to happen differently. And she got very defensive and started yelling at me. And so I stepped into her office further and I shut the door and I let her go on. And then I even toned responded to her saying, okay, well, you just yelled at me. And we need to talk about why that is, because what I'm trying to give to you is something that will help this whole system work. I'm in no way trying to attack you here. I'm trying to make the system better and trying to make your people better. What's going on? And we wound up having a good conversation after that, and it resolved well. And y'all, I look back at that particular instance, and I'm like, if I got through that, I didn't die. No hole open in the ground and suck me down. I didn't get fired. I'm not saying that's not a real possibility sometimes if you get in that kind of contentious interaction with somebody at work, particularly if they're superior to you, which this person was in a different department. But I got through that. And I'm like, man, I didn't die. My career didn't take a hit. This was worth it. And it was worth it because we had a better working relationship after that. It is so much more worthwhile to confront that kind of stuff. And I feel like I've just deviated into a somewhat related second topic for this particular recording for this Monday. But yeah, it's just way better. Y'all, there's only so much nice you need to extend, and being polite and continuing to let that person abuse your time and waste your time and therefore your money and what you earn. And granted, if you're working full time, well, that's the company paying you to do that over and over and over and over again for that person, which is a waste for them. But if they keep insisting you do it, okay. But maybe you finally say, hey, I want to be a responsible person here and point out this waste happening because of all the time I'm spending on this particular show and tell and tell and tell and show and show and show and tell and tell and tell and show and show and tell and tell and tell again. And they're not getting it. So that's the vent for today. If you feel like hopping over to our WhatsApp community, the link is in the show notes. Feel free because nobody's got to name names. You don't have to. We could commiserate about it because hopefully they came out the other side of that and became a better colleague. Anyway, I hope you're a better colleague. I hope you work with better colleagues. And I wish you the very best in your week coming up. And for those of us who are barely managing, here's to us. We're still awesome. We're going to make it through and we'll come out on top somehow, some way, someday. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.